Hey everyone, it's Ross here, finally back on MGF Customs to do the big review on the new LEGO Marvel Studios Collectible Minifigure series. All 12 minifigures making up what I think is now the best minifigure series of all time. Of course, these just released on September 1st. I was able to score about half of them going around to different Walgreens stores here in the US. And now, of course, they've been hitting LEGO stores, Walmarts if they put them out. But more reliably actually was Barnes and Noble, and I was able to get the rest of them going to a couple of those stores, believe it or not. And these are retailing for $4.99, by the way. And even if I'm the last person to do this review, it doesn't even matter, because after spending my entire LEGO YouTube career criticizing everything that LEGO does with their minifigures, when they show up with a set of minifigures that are this amazing, I feel obligated to show up and talk about it and celebrate when LEGO really gets it right. And so it's gonna be a long video breaking down all 12 of these minifigures, so I hope you stick around. If you do, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your feedback or anything I missed or anything you agree with or disagree with, or drop the video a like below so that the YouTube algorithm acknowledges the ungodly amount of time I spent working on this video. And with all that said, let's get started. Okay, here we go with Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, as she appeared in the WandaVision finale. And of course, this minifigure is infamous for being really good, except for one fatal flaw with the new hairpiece, which is an excellent new mold, by the way. I do just want to get that out of the way and say that straight up. It's just obviously, as we've discussed before on this channel, I did a whole separate video on it the moment we saw it. She's got a bit of a hair crown. And what do I mean by that? Well, instead of integrating and doing a double mold to properly install the crown into the hairpiece, much like what LEGO did, spoiler alert, with Sylvie, who you'll see in a little bit, to integrate her crown into the hairpiece exactly like this, LEGO just slapped a bit of dark red printing on the front of it and called it a day. So you have all these exposed portions of the hair still coming through where the crown should be, and like I said, it looks like a hair crown and it's really bad. Now I know that doesn't bother everybody, and I can understand that. I'll personally be doing a quick video on how to sort of paint over that and another alternative option that you can also use to do something different with this, but it is still a great piece, like I said. Another issue I do take with the minifigure, unfortunately, is the head. Not so much this side where she has the red eyes, but actually the eyebrows. The eyebrows are in a tan blonde color, which of course is always fitting for characters with blonde hair, like Sylvie here, for example. Again, spoiler alert before we ever get to her here. But not so much for characters like Wanda, who would otherwise need the dark brown eyebrows. And I know this is a nitpick for a lot of you, but as the minifig customizer, it really stands out to me personally. And also, this big dopey smile on the alternative facial expression really isn't helping anybody. I don't know what LEGO was thinking with this, but just to give you a quick look here at what it looks like with the hairpiece attached, it's just kind of odd looking. So we're just going to take that off actually for a second, because I do want to talk about the cape, because the capes are nice. Of course, these are the spongy material that we've been getting since 2014, but these only have one slot, which is, you know, okay for, I guess, a little bit of added posability and not making the collar too thick around the neck. But unfortunately, what you kind of wind up getting as a result, if you don't have a good hairpiece like Wanda's to hold it down, is the cape kind of like flapping a little too far forward. You can't really see it with Wanda here, and we will talk more about this issue with White Vision in a little while. But everything else on Wanda is amazing. She has double molded dark red arms with her shoulders exposed in the LEGO fleshy color. She has the red Power Blast pieces, which of course activate by just pressing them toward the minifigure, so we can actually get those out of the way really quick for the rest of the segment here. And then also the torso design is fantastic, as well as it continues down onto the printed legs. And really quick actually to remove the hairpiece and then flip up the cape so that you can see the printing on the back. I think LEGO has definitely done a tremendous job with Wanda here. It's just really the head and the hairpiece that are a problem. And I did score an extra Wanda minifigure just to do that video, like I mentioned. And I mean, originally I thought that maybe this minifigure could have used a waist cape, but in hindsight, I mean, the cape itself that she already has is sufficient efficient and works. I think if anything, a custom Darkhold piece, this is not included, but if she had a Darkhold tile printed like this, that would have been awesome, but I'm pretty sure LEGO probably didn't have reference material for that considering it was a spoiler. And one last thing I want to mention actually is, of course, you do get the 3x4 minifigure stands included. This is a CMF series after all, so that's a given, but what was not a given is the black 1x2 jumper plate that's also included with the little clear posing stand piece. And these are great, and I'm really glad that LEGO has included these here. It kind of makes the $5 price point just a little bit easier to swallow, but obviously they allow for some really great posability, and these are a lot of flying characters after all, and considering all the resources are being poured into just these characters and they're not a part of a bigger set, you can kind of, I guess, afford these extra pieces here and kind of give them just that extra flair with these pieces. It's just what's a problem is it makes it a lot harder to feel through the baggies and identify which characters are which, because you'll wind up thinking that, you know, one of these clear stand pieces or one of the plates is like Vision's laptop, or that one of the clear posing stand pieces is like Peggy's Tesseract tiles. They definitely make finding your favorite characters just a little bit more challenging. I am the Watcher. I cannot, I will not interfere. Hey man, LEGO didn't make Agatha Harkness though. Okay, now that is some bull. Here. Hey, thanks.
Wow, can you bring Vision and my fake kids back too?
No. And of course with White Vision, who I said would be taking a look at in a little while, I meant in just a second, because here he is, and here is that cape issue that I was talking about. When you don't have a hairpiece to support it, it just kind of sticks out a little bit too far and can look a little bit strange. And obviously this laptop looks a little bit strange, even though it's an amazing accessory. So just to give you a better look at that, you can see it has a little graphic of the Hex Dome over what I assume is the central house that Wanda was staying in at whichever point in time, we don't know here, but the graphics and the little keyboard tile are great, and this little keyboard tile threw me off a lot. It's actually a really good tell for finding White Vision, not only because this little laptop piece that it clips onto for the articulated screen can be helpful, but also this is like the only tile that doesn't have the studs. So you'll be feeling the jumper plates that are all included quite a bit, but this is the only one without a stud in the center, so that's when you know you have White Vision. So this laptop is amazing, but the minifigure itself is not, and easily the weakest of the entire series, which is crazy, right? Because he still does look halfway decent, especially with all of his arm printing and his double molded legs with the wraparound leg printing on top of those. I mean, this is still a good looking minifigure that was just a victim of the usual concept art issue in which LEGO was looking at a particular bit of reference for the character that became outdated, and so Vision really needed to have the stone in the center forehead be blue, the eyes blue as well, and really the whole minifigure needed to be white, not this light gray that they went with, and you know, it just is what it is. I have a better one eventually coming in from Phoenix Customs at some point, so this doesn't bother me too much, and honestly, he looks good on a shelf, and I'm not going to complain when there's this much arm printing and wraparound leg printing going on double molded legs. It's still really good looking despite the issues it has, I think, and that also goes for the back of the torso. So this minifigure has problems. It's not ideal, it's inaccurate, but I think it's still serviceable. Monica Rambeau is here included in the series as well, and as you can see, she comes with this giant brick-built little drone helicopter. Of course, this is the one that got caught in the Hex, and I believe it was episode 2 of WandaVision. You get a lot of extra parts for this as well. It's just a 1x4 modified brick with a black cheese slope, a little red pipe on the back, a hook in the top with a little black bar for the propeller, so it's pretty good there and a nice accessory. The actual minifigure, as you can see, is sporting a fantastic new hairpiece that is just above and beyond. I think LEGO completely knocked this one out of the park. I love this new hairpiece, and I can't wait to see future uses for it too beyond just Monica Rambeau, but it really is perfect for her, obviously. This is the smiling face, which I think works. She also does have a regular expression here, which I think is a perfect match to the actress's likeness. And then you can see she also has the sword symbol printed in the front of her torso torso design there right in the center, and also you have that printing continuing onto the back. Unfortunately, on the arm printing, you can see the shoulders are pretty sloppy looking, and this seems to be a persistent issue across most of the Monica Rambeau minifigures that I've seen. If you don't get sort of the regular faded effect over here, you could wind up getting one of these more sloppy, nearly like ripped up looking, printing effects there, which is kind of a shame, and something I can easily fix with paint, but I realize not everyone can do that, so definitely keep an eye out and make sure you inspect your Monica Rambeau minifigure in case you wind up needing, I don't know, a replacement part or something. Does Lego do that for these? Now Captain America. Guys, this is a minifigure that I've wanted to have in person to talk about ever since the reveal. Very much so because this is one of those figures that is just now one of the best minifigures of all time, and I cannot believe what Lego has achieved with this one and how far they went to deliver the best minifigure possible here, because as you can see, our new Sam Wilson Captain America minifigure has an entirely new hairpiece to suit the new look, and I think that it works really well as Lego has made the effort to sort of make it much thinner on the sides so that it sort of flows more with the face mask that Sam Wilson wears with his new Captain America suit. You notice you have the printing on the front and back of the head as well. Obviously, it can't continue on to the sides, so there are some limitations, and that's okay. Really quick to get it out of the way so we can take a better look at the rest of the suit. We have the brand new Captain America shield that does have the new rivets printed into the design, and I love the gradient within the stars as well. I think that's a great piece. We're gonna go ahead and remove it, like I said, because you can see there's so much to break down here on the rest of the minifigure's body, including a really great torso design, double molded arms in white and dark blue with highly detailed arm printing on top of that. They look amazing, and so do the legs, which are also double molded but in dark blue and light gray that have wraparound designs and toe printing. It's seamless, it's high quality, it is Lego firing on all cylinders here. They were not messing around with Sam Wilson Cap. They've done a brilliant job with this minifigure, man. And just really quick now, we're also going to go ahead and remove the hairpiece and the head to give you a better look at the brand new set of wings. And as you can see, Lego has an entirely new centerpiece that they're offering for the new brick-built wings, and none of these designs that you see here are stickers on this new centerpiece or on the flaps that are attached via a couple basic hinges. I think Lego has done a brilliant job here. And then you also have red wing attached on the back, which is just a triangular tile with some really good printing on it. You can see we do have an available stud right there for him, and what's really great now too is this is where these posing stands can also come into play if you got an extra one, or if you just want to use the one that's included with Captain America here. You attach that to the back, attach Red Wing to it, and it looks like Red Wing is launching off of the back of Captain America's wings. And while we still have the wings off, here's the printing on the back of the torso, equally as great as the printing on the front. Guys, I genuinely mean it when I say, again, this is one of the best minifigures that Lego has ever developed. They have made something really special here, and he's that much better in person, and thankfully really easy to locate in the baggies too, because of that giant center mass wing piece there that they made just for Sam. I mean, make sure you get this minifigure. This is just phenomenal, and does have me wondering if I need to even still attempt a custom of him at all. Now, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, another really good minifigure in this series, just with one little nitpicky problem that I want to point out straight away, and that is with the face design, which for the most part is really good. It's just the little squiggle line with the little kind of lip design on the edge of the mouth I don't really like too much, and I think actually kind of ruins the regular face here. I think if Lego went with a better mouth design, sort of similar to what you see in this preview for one of the upcoming Phoenix Customs minifigures of Bucky, I think that is definitely preferable to what you see here with this awkward little smirk. I've never liked this design. I've never painted it onto any of my customs, and I think if we cover it up, you can sort of see what I mean. There's a really good likeness to to Sebastian Stan here. It's just the mouth that sort of ruins it a bit for me, and that's okay, because if we go ahead and remove the hairpiece, which I know is not everyone's choice, but personally it does not bother me, we can see the aggressive facial expression is much better, and definitely a great alternative. So all it takes is just flipping around the head and problem solved, really. Then the torso design is equally fantastic. That does continue down onto the legs. Now I know some might think this is a little bit inaccurate looking because these designs here are much brighter than they probably should be, because they don't stand out that much on the actual suit in the show, but that is so nitpicky, it's not even funny. And then you can see we have a rubber knife included as well, so of course those come on the sprues, and so you get 2 of those as always. The printed design work continues onto the back of the torso here, looking just as good as the front. You already noticed that we have the Captain America shield included here with Bucky as well, and then the printed metal arm, the new vibranium arm from Wakanda. Lego has done a great job portraying it here on the minifigure with an excellent printed design onto the black arm. I cannot believe how good that looks, and how even the more standard minifigures like Bucky in this series look this good. Although it is a bit of a shame that Sam and Bucky don't have a John Walker minifigure or Baron Zemo to go up against. Moving on to the Loki characters now, we have Loki himself as he appeared in the first 2 episodes of the series in his initial Time Variance Authority uniform, which has a really great torso print with the tie and everything. In the jacket, you've got the badge for the TVA, the belt buckle from the TVA, and then you also have the variant text printed onto the back. Lego has done a great job with this very simple design, and just to get them out of the way, the obvious accessories included would be the amazing Frog Thor piece, which is just so cool, and you can see Lego is doing a lot with this one in the form of some printing on the front with a little gray torso that wraps around to the back with a cape printed on there, and then even a helmet integrated into the back of the head, a little tiny Mjolnir. He has the little mini bars for hands, of course, so he's grippable by Lego minifigures, and I just was not expecting any other variants or other little surprises from the back half of Loki Season 1 to be included, so this was a huge surprise. And then Loki does also have the white TVA mug, which is a great piece, very simple, with a simple TVA logo printed onto that gold band on the front of the white mug, but a really great accessory to have nonetheless, and I'm glad that Lego included both of them with Loki to spice things up a bit. They have Loki sporting a black Luke Skywalker hairpiece, which I used in 2018 actually, and I think it's definitely the right choice for them. Personally, once I'm able to, I'm going to paint up one of these 3D printed ones from Nate's Minifigs, not sponsored or anything, but just I think you can tell once that's painted up, it'll look a lot better than what Lego includes here. That's just my personal preference, obviously, but what I do actually kind of like about this Loki minifigure is not necessarily this side of the face, because I think the smile is just way too wide, and I think the Ragnarok Loki smiling face was better than this one, but it's actually the alternative side of the face. I think this side has a little bit better of a likeness to Tom Hiddleston. It's still not quite there, and I actually will be basing mine off of this edit by the Random Lego Photos account on Instagram, and I'm going to attempt to paint something similar to this when I do eventually go to make my own custom TVA Loki, but I think Lego for the most part still did an okay job with this one. And I didn't mention it before, but obviously you have some very simple printing extending down onto the legs, and despite my nitpicking, this minifigure is so awesome, and I definitely got to get my hands on an extra one to do a quick Mobius. Alright, listen, I don't know where to put this guy in the frame, so here's Alligator Loki just to start off with Sylvie here. He's a really great guy, but unfortunately no crown, no horns. He does not look like a Loki variant at all. It's just a Lego alligator, which is great, but I mean, he's not Alligator Loki, and he's just kind of tossed in here, and at least I guess he makes finding Sylvie a lot easier. Okay, and now here we go with Sylvie. Of course, this minifigure is now kind of iconic for having, like I pointed out earlier, the double molded hairpiece that has the crown integrated into it, just like the old Ant-Man helmets and various other double molded headgear accessories that Lego has done before this. This is the gold standard for what we needed to see with Scarlet Witch, like I've already said, and at least it's really great to see them do do it with Sylvie here because the end result is just stunning. Now, unfortunately, it is inaccurate because while Sylvie's hairstyle does remain like this for the majority of the series, she does have a bun up here when she's sporting the crown, you know, with the horns earlier on in the series, but that's okay and definitely a nitpick. I'm personally just looking forward to taking the extra Sylvie minifigure that I picked up and removing this crown to eventually make my own custom Sylvie later on. And you can see one thing that is also a bit notorious with this minifigure is the face designs that are included, and I get it. This is very similar to Scarlet Witch. You know, you have a bizarre little smirk that is kind of okay on this side, but then really awkward on this side. And this one, yeah, this one I can't really excuse away. She just looks like a chipmunk, like we just got Chip and Dale up in here in the, you know, taking the form of Sylvie. I mean, it's very chipmunk-like, and I don't think that's a good mouth design at all. I don't know what LEGO was trying to achieve there, but something more akin to this, again, from an edit by Random LEGO Photos on Instagram, I think would have been a lot more preferable, and I think is a much better face design overall than whatever this is supposed to be, because this is not really fitting for the character either. So, you know, kind of a miss with the face designs, but that's okay. I'm honestly not too upset about it. The torso design is really good on the gunmetal torso piece, and that continues onto the back, and of course the arm printing is excellent as well. I mean, look at that on those double molded arms, no less. My god, LEGO. You can see they did include a green machete here, obviously meant to look like an enchanted blade, and yeah, I mean, that's okay, and I see what they're going for. I just wish it was in a transparent green color, not solid green. Regardless, you get two of these, so if you want her dual-wielding green machetes, sure, that's the thing you can do. Sylvie really needed leg printing, though, and I mean, the quickest solution is to get an extra Bucky and then just, like, give her those legs temporarily, but there are also tons of other options across a bunch of other, you know, LEGO themes, like Imperial characters from Star Wars, and, I mean, some Marvel characters have the strapped legs, and there are options available. It's just a shame to see such a good minifigure just kind of literally be, you know, kind of cut off at the legs in terms of detail.
Yeah, the TVA ripped me from my home as a child, and I've been on the run through time all my life and just started a multiversal war. Oh, nice, yeah. I was just holding a town hostage with chaos magic when I got back from being erased from existence after Thanos killed my synthezoid boyfriend after I had to kill him myself first.
Hey, so then why are you both smiling like that? Okay, now moving on to our what if characters, we have Captain Carter. I've been so excited for this one. I never would have thought this minifigure would have been this good, especially after seeing the retail version that came in the Hydra Stomper set. I think that perfectly illustrates the difference between retail LEGO set minifigures and CMF minifigures when LEGO can really just pour all the resources into the quality of the minifigures instead of just making sure they're included with a set in some way, shape, or form, kind of regardless how it looks. This is the perfect Captain Carter minifigure, and oh my god. Alright, so the hairpiece, as you can see, is an entirely new hairpiece that matches the hairstyle of Peggy Carter from that era, and now we finally have this as an official LEGO hairpiece, and it's just so awesome to finally see made officially. LEGO did an excellent job. It is literally perfect, and if we go ahead and remove it temporarily to give you a better look at the face designs that LEGO have here offered to match the likeness to Haley Atwell, I think that they have done a spectacular job with this. Even if the eyebrows are a little bit misaligned on a few of them, it's really no big deal. And if we go ahead and flip it around, we have the aggressive facial expression as well. And here's a look at what Peggy looks like with the hairpiece on and the aggressive facial expression applied. Just absolutely stellar. And you can see the British shield here is really cool as well. Also suffering from just a little bit of an alignment issue, but you're not not really gonna notice it. It's a nitpick, who cares? The shield piece is great. Now we're gonna take the shield off as well so we can get a look at the Tesseract, and I know some people wanted an actual Tesseract piece, some even wanted like a giant trans blue Minecraft head, but I think what LEGO did here is fine. The two 1x1 plates printed in this trans blue color, almost with like this sparkly effect running through the plastic. I think LEGO did a great job here, and having the Tesseract be two plates does kind of still make this feel more like LEGO, right? Instead of just getting a new piece for everything, I think this one is definitely justifiable here, and you can see now with the accessories removed, just the full scope of the printing that is offered here on the minifigure. You can see the torso design is excellent, with the back design only continuing that over here if we remove the hairpiece temporarily as well, and then putting it back on so we can talk about the arm printing. You can see the arms, while more simple compared to some of the designs that we've seen in this CMF series thus far, really get the job done, and the same can be said for the double molded legs that have the boots there with the wrap around detail. I mean, my god, not only do these parts with the arms and the legs really do a lot to enhance the minifigure, but these are also so useful and just kind of a dream come true for purists. I mean, now you can take these arms and legs and, you know, regardless of how accurate they may be, they're gonna look fantastic on any Captain America minifigure you put them on. So, I mean, Captain Carter here is just the full package and one of the best minifigures of all time, and I mean, possibly my favorite superheroes minifigure ever next to Falcon Captain America. I honestly can't decide. Now T'Challa Star-Lord, as he appeared in episode 2 of What If, and unfortunately Chadwick Boseman's final performance as T'Challa, you can see LEGO just again knocked this one out of the park with a brand new Star-Lord helmet with the purple lenses printed this time instead of the red, the new hairstyle integrated into the piece now instead of Chris Pratt's, which looks so freaking cool, man. And we'll go ahead and remove the helmet temporarily to give you a better look at the face, which I do think works and I do think is good. I'm curious to know what you guys think of this though. If we go ahead and remove the one LEGO has printed here, I have this custom one by L1N6 minifigures on Instagram that I just tend to prefer a little bit more. Maybe it's not really quite LEGO style with the additional details within the design, but I'm curious to know which one you guys prefer. But we'll go ahead and remove that temporarily because, as you can see, I did just put on a hairpiece that I have yet to mention as included with the T'Challa Star-Lord minifigure, just like with Falcon Cap, is a brand new hairstyle that LEGO definitely didn't have to make a new mold, but they did, and it's great. And I'm so glad that LEGO has so freely made new hairpieces for these minifigures in this series that are benefiting from them so much, like T'Challa here. And then also you can see the purple torso with the jacket design is so good, with those light purple highlights running through it to really bring it out and make it that much more vibrant. That only continues onto the back of the torso as well. It's so awesome. And the new lighter silver color for the quad blasters is starting to grow on me. I didn't quite like it at first, but I do think it looks maybe just a tad bit better. And then also you can see, even while Star-Lord doesn't have the arm printing because he doesn't really need arm printing, you can see LEGO has a full set of printing on these double molded legs in black with the dark brown boots, and the thrusters even printed onto the sides of each boot. I mean, LEGO has made a really great set of legs here to upgrade not just your T'Challa Star-Lord, but also your Chris Pratt Star-Lord minifigures, because now you can put these on all of those guys and make them look that much better. Seeing those thrusters printed onto the sides of double molded boots, I have to say, is something that I just genuinely thought I wouldn't see in my lifetime, but here it is, and here is T'Challa Star-Lord. And guys, originally I was considering maybe at some point making a custom Captain Carter and T'Challa Star-Lord well before What If even began, but now with this CMF wave, I'm not doing that showcase. LEGO's Captain Carter and T'Challa Star-Lord are just that good and have completely removed my incentive to make them myself. Moving on to Zombie Hunter Spider-Man. This is, of course, a highly anticipated one, as this is not just Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, but of course in the upcoming episode of What If, where this version of Peter Parker will appear. He's sporting, and there goes the head prematurely, he's sporting the same suit that we see him wearing at Avengers Campus, so this is also really cool for Disney Parks fans too, and you can see we also have a giant web piece included. You know the one, we've been getting it since 2002, and here it is thrown in with the CMF as well, making this minifigure very easy to locate and identify, thankfully. And as you can see, we do have the cape, what's it called? The Cloak of Levitation. There we go. Sorry, I just had to kick 2016 brain back on for a quick second. But it is a shame that this minifigure kind of got in there before the new Cloak of Levitation piece was made for the No Way Home sets coming out in October. But that's okay. The fabric one still works too. Now you can see the face here doesn't exactly look like Tom Holland. And I think that is because LEGO based this design off of how Peter appears in the upcoming episode of What If, in which he also doesn't really look like Tom Holland, so that's okay, and honestly kind of makes the face more useful for other regular versions of Peter Parker that aren't necessarily from the MCU. But we're going to go ahead and remove the upper portion of the Cloak of Levitation here, if it will cooperate, so that I can give you a better look at the alternative facial expression, which is a lot more concerned. My guy has seen some zombies, and so that is available with this minifigure as well. And then obviously the hairpiece included is the right choice, I think, and we're going to go ahead and remove that as well, so we can go ahead and take the head off once and for all, along with the cape, and give you a better look at this suit before we put the cloak back on. Check out that torso design, look at those legs, and I do want to draw some attention to those legs, because while we have had double molded Spidey legs from the MCU sets with printing on them and stuff, we've never had a set in regular blue, making these massively useful for every Spider-Man fan everywhere. And you can see the arm printing as well is excellent. And now, while recently we have been getting printed Spidey arms appearing in the retail sets now, this makes them that much more accessible and easier to acquire, so you can gift these to any Spider-Man minifigure who needs them. And so this is just basically the best parts pack that we could have asked for our Spider-Man minifigures, in addition to getting the great designs, the Cloak of Levitation, the Peter Parker head, this design that continues onto the back of the torso. This minifigure is fantastic. And now that I've got the Cloak of Levitation back on, here is what Zombie Hunter Spidey looks like with the mask on instead. And man, check that out. What a minifigure. This is so exciting. And I personally already got an extra Zombie Hunter Spidey for my Amazing Spider-Man 1 minifigure from Christo, who never had any printing on the arms or legs. So yeah, I'm really excited for the potential this one brings and the upcoming episode of What If. Naturally, of course, we gotta follow that up with Zombie Captain America, and again, no exaggeration, one of the best LEGO minifigures ever developed. This is so amazing too. Just getting started with the battle damage shield. First off, you can see we've got a lot of dirt and scuff marks printed on there with a bunch of additional scratches. I mean, that updated design is so cool and so useful. And then with Zombie Captain America here from the upcoming What If episode, we've got a new helmet for him, and I mean, the helmet piece is not new, but the printing is. The A is ripped up, dirt marks, the wings are even a little messed up as well, and I mean, I'm still to this day not a huge fan of how awkward the back of the Captain America helmet piece is, but LEGO's committed to it obviously, and so we're not complaining about that today. And we'll go ahead and remove the helmet to give you a better look at the face underneath, which is really cool and generic enough to where you can use this zombie head for anything, especially if like you're a zombie mock builder or something. I mean, the utility of some of these elements here is really, really great, and the same can be said for the torso. And what's really great about these parts is with the shield, the torso, and the helmet, you can get a really good battle damage Captain America out of Zombie Cap here. And you can see the design work with that battle damage torso, with the rips, the scuff marks, it's all in there and it looks great. And man, do I love these mint green parts. They really make the dead skin for Zombie Cap look really awesome on this figure, and the same can be said for the design work on the back of the torso. Just some really awesome stuff with all the battle damaged elements part of the design now. Putting the helmet back on though for now, you can see we have arm printing, and those dirt marks and even these little scaly marks only continue onto his mint green arm there. If we remove the shield here, you can see the printing on his right arm is that much better with a bit more detail, and it looks great. And then obviously this minifigure has double molded boots as well, but I have to say this is definitely the most creative use of the double molded legs with the additional wraparound printing that I've seen with these minifigures really thus far, because I mean the transition that the printing is able to create from the double molded mint green boot with the dark blue leg up into the minifigure is just so natural looking and so seamless. And I also love the other leg as well with the dark red boot. I mean, this minifigure is all around just stunning, and I mean Lego has knocked this one out of the park. I would love to eventually one day see like a zombie Iron Man or zombie Hawkeye. Obviously it's wishful thinking at this point, but this is just so awesome that one can only hope. And finally, our last minifigure for the entire review, we have Gamora in the Thanos style armor, also from an upcoming episode of What If, and you can see she's got the brick built blade of Thanos, which I know not everyone is a fan of. Personally, I don't mind it. I've got better alternatives anyway, although it does kind of make distinguishing between her and Sylvie when identifying the minifigures in the bags kind of difficult. We'll go ahead and remove this for now so we can talk about the minifigure itself. First of all, I'm really glad to see Gamora heads become more accessible now, because she's only really appeared in 3 sets over the years. And I also really like the head on this one. Of course, with the hairpiece, we have the highlights still printed on there, which are great to see back as always, but I personally find the face design to be pretty reminiscent of the original 2014 Gamora face, which I always personally preferred versus the last 2 versions, and especially with the aggressive facial expression here, which I also think is a little bit better and just a tad more natural looking than the giant wide gritted teeth that we had with the previous 2 iterations of Gamora. And yeah, so we take a look at the rest of the minifigure while we have the hairpiece off temporarily. The torso design is great, love that, and I also love the design work as it continues onto the back almost more than the front. But obviously the main draw to Gamora here is the fact that she also has double molded arms with the arm printing, and my god, does that look so awesome. Of course, some of the gold sort of blends in with the green around the shoulders just a bit and can lead to some misprinting that I've seen, but it's really not a big deal. These arms are fantastic, man, and I cannot get over how Lego even did this for Gamora. I mean, it's so amazing, man. And of course, I love the leg printing that Lego did here too. The designs are all great, but if there's one thing I gotta say about Gamora, it's that I kind of didn't need this minifigure, and if anything, I would have preferred to get Doctor Strange Supreme as he appeared in the most recent episode of What If, you know, evil Doctor Strange. That was so cool and such an emotionally powerful episode, and I don't know, we haven't seen the episode with Gamora yet, so maybe I'll change my mind and you know, feel more connected to this version of Gamora than I already am to evil Doctor Strange and you know, sort of the enormity of that story that we've already seen. But let me know what you guys think of that down in the comments. And so that pretty much does it, guys, for this huge review on the best Lego collectible minifigure series to date. Let me know if you stuck around thus far. I really appreciate it if you're still here, and let's go ahead now and begin to wrap up this video with some closing thoughts. Hey Sam, why do we keep saying Steve is gone like he died? I mean, I don't actually know what happened to him. Oh yeah, that dude was very dead. Some angry timekeeper people came by and Steve dropped dead. What? Yeah, then I guess Banner felt bad, so he tried pushing time back through him or whatever. And what happened? Well, I mean, ask him yourself, he's right there. Oh god! How long has he been there? All day. All day? Yeah, that's kind of his thing, remember? He can do it all day. Right, Steve? Okay, you've made it to the end or skipped around to get here. Regardless, you've arrived. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it more than you realize, because this was a video that I definitely put a lot of passion into, and I cannot believe it wound up being this long. Regardless, this is, as I said at the start, the best minifigure series LEGO has ever done. So of course, I just think it's only fair to say thank you to LEGO for putting this together and producing each of these minifigures. I really can't wait to see what the future has in store for additional minifigure series, whether that be for Marvel or maybe in the future we can finally start to get a Star Wars series at some point. Anyway, what are your top 3 favorite minifigures from this wave? Have you been able to get any of these minifigures so far? My top 3 favorites definitely are Captain America, Captain Carter, and then T'Challa Star-Lord. 3 just absolutely phenomenal minifigures leading this group for me. And I mean, if anything, I just kind of wish that maybe we could have had 16 minifigures so that we could have gotten, you know, like Baron Zemo, John Walker, Agatha Harkness, someone else, Mobius maybe. There were just so many good options, and as happy as I am with this set, yeah, I mean, there definitely are a couple absences, but that's okay. It looks like LEGO is really pursuing quality over quantity with each of these. And like I said with the What If characters, I mean, well before this minifigure series was ever announced, I wanted to do Captain Carter and T'Challa Star-Lord, and I mean, these two are just so great that that's just completely off the table for me at this point. But like I said at the start, a ton of work went into this video, and if you're new here and somehow made it to the end, make sure you subscribe to the channel for future custom minifigures and reviews like this one. And also, of course, dropping the video like below allows the YouTube algorithm or whatever to put this video out in front of more people so that I can continue to make reviews like this in the future. And otherwise, you can find me working on all my customs early over on Patreon, posting the progress there as always, and then shortly thereafter followed up with more Photoshop edits posted over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You guys know the drill, especially if you made it to the end. I assume this is not my first video of yours that you're watching, so I will see you next time. Thank you so much again, and as always, take care, stay safe out there, and keep creating.